All right, what up, dude? So when it comes to the package and the dynamic of being late with their arm, right? I think this is something that a lot of people talk about, but when it comes to the coaching aspect of it, be on time, right? Like that's the kind of terminology you hear: be on time, get on time, give your arm more time, so on and so forth. So we see as far as the breakdown and why it's so important and so crucial to not only power output, but more importantly is health. So I think why it's such a big, blown up dynamic is because I believe it was MLB Tonight did a segment on 4 different bullet points, 4 different things in regards to why pitchers have Tommy John. And I think the number 1 bullet point was hand positioning at front foot strike, right? So in the delivery, when we go into our drive phase and we come down, when that foot makes contact with the ground, and I kind of look at it as in the whole entire foot, right? You'll see some guys that kind of go toes, some guys go heel, but when I see full foot contact with the ground, then we look at hand positioning, okay? So a commonality like we see with that hand positioning being late, not getting up in time, where you'll see the hand below the elbow, or even worse, elbow above shoulder and hand below both, right? So that's when we talk about that inverted W, and this is all at front foot strike, okay? So the reason why it's such a big breakdown, because obviously you're not giving your arm enough time to go in motion with the rest of the body. So then when it comes time to make that foot contact, the energy from the backside has already been transferred, and now we're having to rely on our arm, just our arm, to express high velocity out through the fingertips, instead of having everything go as one out through, right? So I think the number 1 kind of position, again, everyone's kind of going to be different, but what we typically want to see when it comes to the arm timing and optimal positionings, again, I don't really like to talk too much about positionings, I guess, because it's kind of more of a robotic thing, but what we see with guys that are extremely efficient with utilizing their entire body to throw the baseball is that arm, that hand gets into about a 45 degree angle right here at front foot contact, and you'll see that elbow, that hand kind of pinching down, you'll see that it's relatively close to the body, right? Center of mass. I think, I believe the better we are connected, the more closer we are to the center of our mass, then the better we'll be able to really whip that arm. And if you guys hear the analogy of the whip, like the arm is the tip of the whip, right? So everything has to work in one fluid motion for that tip of the whip to really, maximize its whippage potential, if you will. So, like I said, when it comes to being late, you're having to just now essentially throw and express a ton of potential velocity, with your whole entire arm. And that puts a ton of valgus stress on your elbow. Very, very common. We see a lot of inconsistency with the release point, often leading to, I talk about early launch. So again, we're just trying to maximize the timing of this arm with the rest of the body, right? We're trying to work as one. I talk a lot about effortless velocity and why it's so crucial and kind of how to obtain it with really using your body, which is, I know, super broad, but hopefully you'll get a better understanding of that the more you follow me. So effortless velocity, when not only are we applying, accepting forces, having movement potential, having strength capacity, having all these things, all these dynamics that I talk about, but on top of that, the underlying essentially layer of importance is like timing of everything, right? Timing of where you're at, timing of the hip rotation, timing of internal hip rotation of that drive leg, timing of that hand getting up here. So I think the biggest breakdown that could potentially happen with guys is when we see that hand positioning below the elbow as front foot makes full contact with the ground, right? Now you're having to make the arm, or force the arm to do way more work and take on way more stress and way more load than it has to. So hopefully that understanding and that breakdown makes sense. I'll talk more about, some drill progressions and variations that we can utilize to, kind of go about solving this issue. So enjoy.